about the Arizona-Chicago game. I got to listen to this one more than watch part of it, about half of it. I think the big thing that kind of got me looking towards this game before the game was, how good Chicago's defense really has been, and will Arizona. And I had felt like they were starting to get everything put together and kind of like, hey, all these parts are starting to figure things out, work together. We're starting to see the potential. How will that go? And then the young quarterback, Caleb, is he starting to figure things out? And will the Arizona's defense, which has had its moments, but would they be able to figure things out as well? Yeah, it was a fun game. I really enjoyed it. What did you think? How did you enjoy this game?
I mean, it was certainly great to see us win, and not just win at a last minute field goal and so on. Like, I'll certainly take those kind of wins, but it was great to see us actually kind of dominate, to be honest, and the defense
Yeah,
really show up. We got 6 sacks and that kind of thing, so it was pretty solid. They do have a good defense. Particularly, they have a really good pass defense. Their run defense is solid, and it really hadn't given up tons, but it's their pass defense is their really special thing. They will give up a little bit of yardage, but they have, through 8 games now, given up 5 passing touchdowns all year. We did not add to this number. But we just killed them on the ground. You look at some of these and, the stats, and you're like, Kyler only had like 150 yards. It's less after
right.
losses from sacks. And so it's really not much. Off of 13 completions. Well, It's actually something I appreciate about him. He did not get in his team's way.
Yeah.
Like, the run game's working at 6 yards a clip, and it would have been more, but at the end we were running. Trey Benson is still not really the starting running back. So, and
Right.
they were stacking the box against us, so we probably would have been gaining more per rush. And so you see stats like this and just take them into context a little bit, and you're like, actually, kind of like what we did. Now, not every team we play is going to be the Bears. And it's been remarked on heavily that the Bears seem like they've got a post-Hail Mary hangover going on. They even gave up that crazy 53-yard touchdown right before the half, which is just, they said that the last time that had happened, it was like a 50-yard plus rush. It's one of those weird stats, like on a Tuesday kind of things, but like that had not happened. A 50-yard rush for a touchdown within 20 seconds of either half has not happened since like 1970. Like it does not happen. You do not let that happen. So there have been some Hail Marys, of course, and some long passing plays, and Scotty Miller and those kind of things. But I think Tyreek Hill did it to the Cowboys back a couple, 3. He may have still been a Chief. But it does happen. But it's not a run. So they're clearly out of sorts still. But it was good to see us do what we needed to do. It was also really good that we got through there pretty darn unscathed. So that was good. We didn't turn the ball over much. We did have 2 fumbles that we lost. One of them was a bad. It was a bad handoff. It wasn't really a bad handoff so much. It was a bad handoff reception. It gets attributed to Kyler because that's how they do that. But the guy just missed the ball. He basically punched the ball out of Kyler's hands. And then it's going to happen. And he's the guy that got the long touchdown right before half, so we all forgave him. Marvin doesn't have the greatest so far ball security. It's not atrocious. It's not like that. But this is not the first one where he's caught the ball and kind of turned around and someone's knocked it out of his arm. So it's something for him to work on, I suppose. Or it could just be, I don't want to say bad luck, but essentially bad luck. But one way or another, I imagine it will be a focus moving forward with ball security. So, yeah, it was really just, it was good to see. It was almost, I was watching it where I was watching, I almost said after like the third quarter, we can watch something else if we really want to. It's not that I'm not enjoying this, but I know how this is going to end.
It's under control. Yeah,
they're not moving the ball at all.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good game. When you were listening to it and whatever you've gotten to see in retrospect, what did you see that stood out for this one?
Well, I think you were just talking about the defense. Well, maybe to start with that, I think the hope going into that game for Arizona for me was, hey, get up early and make Caleb have to catch up, right? Put them in a unbalanced mode and kind of get a young quarterback to try to force things. But your defense really not only held, I think they had 5 sacks, 6 sacks, some like, hey, that's a lot for that defense compared to what they've been doing kind of throughout the year. So it was a good day for them. And again, it was that I feel like strategy that stayed strong from the coaching, which, hey, once we're up, we're going to keep going. And I think that was good to see. Just seemed like Caleb just couldn't quite, what it got in his head a bit. I felt like he was pushing. And not that he made like the big mistakes per se, but just maybe a little too much here and there. That added up a lot. Just felt like the Bears just got behind and didn't have it. That thing about the fumbles, I just feel like we talk about every week that there's some, however, whether it's incidental, whether it's a bigger mistake than that with, protecting the ball. I feel like we are talking about that every week. With Arizona right now, that's one where I'd like to see them try to, figure that out. I know that's easier said than done, but yeah, just reducing those mistakes, because in this game it didn't matter that much. But in a close game against a more competitive team, which in your division is everyone, I think that could be really costly. So, and then Buda Baker, what a game he had. He was everywhere. And he's always fun to watch, but just some games more than others, it just seems like he teleports around the field and just ends up in every play. And this was one of those games where he was felt. He was felt everywhere. So he's a lot of fun to watch. Those were the takeaways I had. I'm honestly really excited for your next game. I think that'll actually be a really good game, but we'll get to that here in a little bit.